Joining me now is Laura Chace, ITS America President and CEO. Laura, very nice to see you.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, what have been some of the key focus areas for ITS America over this past year?
Well, I would say our top three core focus areas over the past year have been connectivity and connected transportation, which we call vehicle to everything communications, digital infrastructure, which is really this digital layer and the use of data in our transportation system for many purposes, including safety, efficiency, sustainability, and more. And then finally, the use of artificial intelligence, which has just really exploded on the scene in many different ways. And although AI has been used in transportation for quite some time, the capabilities and the number of applications have just really exploded and expanded. And so that's been a hot topic for us.
Now, ITS America is hosting the ITS World Congress next year in Atlanta. What are some of the benefits of being able to host here?
Well, we're super excited about Atlanta. Obviously Atlanta is an amazing city. It's growing fast. It is home to the busiest airport in the world, also a very technologically advanced airport. Atlanta is also going to host the 2026 World Cup. It's no stranger to large events and moving lots of people. It has the largest CV to X deployment, which is a connected vehicle deployment in the country in Atlanta. They're investing $200 million in key infrastructure-related initiatives to improve mobility, including many more protected bike lanes, additional transit service to connect neighborhoods and make it easier for folks to travel. And they're also really looking at equity and affordability in their transportation system. So I think we're just going to see a lot of advances, a lot of innovation in a great city.
What are you hoping attendees get out of that conference?
So the ITS World Congress is really, it's really an amazing venue and conference. And what it really allows is the ability to connect with your international colleagues and partners who, despite the distance and despite perhaps, different governmental structures, in this ITS space, we're all facing the same challenges. We're all facing the similar challenges of how do we harness all the data out there and actually use it to make our system safer and smarter? How are we harnessing AI in a safe and responsible way in our transportation systems? And how are we connecting all the modes, right? So that people can actually travel much more efficiently and seamlessly. And those challenges are common no matter where you live, what language you speak, what country you live in. And so that's the benefit, is you can share knowledge, best practices, challenges, and solutions.
Globally, what are some of the key areas across the board for transportation?
So I think, I mentioned a few, but I will say I really think the use of data globally is a huge topic of conversation. So when you think about, how can we use data from different sources to create essentially mobility as a service, right? So that you can really understand all the different modes on one single app and pay for it on that app and not have to go to 5 or 6 different systems, right? That's all about data. And how do we integrate the data and then how to integrate those systems? And that's just one example, but I would say the use of data has been really one of the key areas, where globally that we see commonality. And then I think I'd probably have to say, really just this concept of how do we effectively update all of these somewhat older legacy systems for this digital age, right? So a lot of the ITS equipment and the sector was really kind of birthed, maybe 35 years ago in the 1990s. And so we're now at this point where we have aging infrastructure and we have a lot of new tools. And so how do we both update the hardware that's needed, but also layer on that software and that digital layer so that we can be more effective, reduce crashes, reduce congestion, and actually even maybe save agencies money at the same time.
How do you see ITS America being involved in getting that done?
Well, so in the U.S., we're the leading organization advocating for this work. We work really closely with our U.S. Department of Transportation to advocate for policies, regulations, and essentially the resources that the transportation community needs in order to deploy these new technologies. And then globally, I think it's very powerful when we come together with our partners, again, and share ideas and best practices so that we can learn from each other. Because as I mentioned before, we're all facing some semblance of the same challenges. So why try to, reinvent the wheel at 50 different times, we need to be able to draw on what works and move forward together.
Laura, such a pleasure talking to you. We are looking forward to next year.
Thank you. We'll see you in Atlanta.